Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 140 of our Let's Grow annual challenge. 140th day of the year, 140th day of our challenge. Today we're talking about ants. Not the kind that you keep away from your picnics or you try to keep out of your house, but something called automatic negative thoughts, a term coined in the 1980s by Dr. Daniel Amen. He went on to do 11 public television series and shows that were viewed over or aired over 80,000 times. His team went on to write lots of articles about the brain and about brain health. But one of the most catchy and long-lasting ideas he put forth, and he's got a great book on it that is called Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. And I would show you mine, but I left it down in Texas. I was at my mom's and I left my book there. So it's one book that I would say if you find yourself, and I'm going to share the 9 most common ANTS, automatic negative thoughts. And I'm not going to give examples of each or I'd talk way too long. If you would like, we could do a whole workshop on ants and how to kill them. And I'm going to share the 3 steps to kill an automatic negative thought so that we can, as our action item today, we're going to pay attention and figure out which one of these automatic negative thoughts we have, or pick one automatic negative thought that pops into our head. And then we're going to kill it using these 3 steps today. And then you can just write done in the comments. Or if you're brave and you want to help teach other people and let us learn from one another, go ahead and put your automatic negative thought and the 3 steps in the comments below. And I'll do mine. I'll pick one. Believe me, I have lots of them. I think that I can confidently say, I guarantee you have an automatic negative thought. I have yet to meet a person that doesn't have at least one of these things that pop into their head. It's how our brain works. I think our reptilian brain thinks it keeps us safe if it throws out the negatives and all the things that could possibly happen. And I am terrible about that. Just ask my kids. As a grandma, I'm always, oh, don't do that or you're going to die. And I've calmed down and more as a grandma than I did as a mom, but my sisters still tease me about how I was always so on my kids about being safe, etc. So automatic negative thoughts, really, really incredibly powerful concept that we want to use in our favor. What the heck are automatic negative thoughts? There's those thoughts that pop into our head whenever they're trying to scare us, or when we're scared, or to shut us down from doing things that stretch our comfort zone and that we want to do in order to move our life in the direction that we want it to. And the most common ones, I'm going to share the 9 most common ones and maybe a couple of examples because it's hard to not share examples. There's so many of them. The first one is always thinking. If you ever catch yourself using always, never, I always do this, I always fall down, I always spill, I am a klutz, things like that. If you say I am with a negative statement behind it or something that's negative, that is an automatic negative thought, right? If you say I am with a positive thing, that's an empowering and affirming thought. But if it's a negative thing, I guarantee that is an ant. It's not a ant, it's an ant. So always thinking, absolute thinking, always, never. Those are things that we need to question. And the thing about ants is we need to question them and we need to become aware of them. Second most common one is focusing on the negative. Anybody do that? Focus on the negative? It's if you are going to do a presentation at work and you say, oh, this is going to stink. It's going to be terrible. Everybody's going to hate it. That is an automatic negative thought. You need to challenge that and say, well, is that really true? Have I spoken before? Have people hated it or liked it? No, and then you have to challenge automatic negative thoughts. Guilt beatings are when we beat ourselves up or other people up and try to make ourselves or them feel guilty about anything. Fortune telling is when we assume anything about the future, right? We don't know anything about the future. We're not fortune tellers. Labeling is when we label ourselves or other people in any way, shape, or form. That is an automatic negative thought. If I label someone based on their appearance, that is an automatic negative thought. I don't know anything about them. If I label myself about my appearance, God, I look old today. That is an automatic negative thought. I need to challenge that. I say that almost every day. Labeling, mind reading, when you think that you can read someone else's mind, when you assume or think you know what someone else is thinking, feeling, believing, etc., that is an automatic negative thought because you have no idea. I have yet to meet someone who is an actual mind reader and can read what is in someone else's mind. They just assume, but that is definitely a bad thing to do. Makes an ass out of you and me. I like the word assume. I like to not use it. Number 7 is thinking with your feelings. Now, I am one that says, listen, you need to pay attention to your feelings. If something doesn't feel right for you, it's probably not right for you. But what this ant is when you act and think with your feelings without ever even questioning them. Because sometimes we feel a certain way and we're assuming it's because of the situation we're in. And if we ask ourselves, well, why am I feeling this way? You realize that it's got nothing to do with the situation or the current situation you're in. It's got something to do with a past experience that you've had, and it's not even applicable to this situation. Number 8, personalization. This is when you take everything personally. You take the most innocuous, the most boring of events, and you take it personally. Or you watch the news and you see horrible things happening around the world and you take it personally. It's got nothing to do with you. And so why would you take it personally? All that does is negatively impact us. And then the final one is, of course, blame. Whenever we blame ourselves or other people for anything, it's usually an automatic negative thought, because blame is usually BS, right? So what are the 3 steps for eliminating any one of these ants? And these will show up in our lives in different ways, shapes, and forms every single day. I don't know about you, but I experience at least one of these every single day of my life that causes me to stop and pause and say, The first step is to become aware of it. Become aware of the fact that our brain feeds us these negative messages all the time. Our world feeds us these messages all the time. Our media is founded on every negative, bad thing that can happen in the world, and it focuses on the negative. Why? Because our brains are trained to seek out the negative and be afraid or stop and pause or not do something to keep us safe. Second step, challenge the ant. All you have to do is say, well, is that true? Is that true right now? Is that always true? And the answer is always no, because nothing is always or never true. And then the third thing is to replace it with a more positive and affirming thought. So if I say, I haven't done one yet, I haven't thought of one yet, but let's come up with an example right now. I'll give a real example. If I say, after I finish every video, I may or may not do this, oh my God, that sucked. That was terrible. That was awful. It was horrible. Why did I bother doing it? If I say things like that to myself, I always suck on my videos. I'm always terrible on video. That is an ant that may or may not come up very frequently for me. So that's step 1, becoming aware of it. Noticing that pops into my head. That's the first thing. I don't even say it out loud. It just pops into my head. You know, every misstep, every word I say wrong, everything I forget to say that I wanted to say, because it could always be better, right? Step 2, become aware of it. Step 2, challenge it. Is that always true? Is that true right now? Is that true all the time? Is it sometimes true and sometimes not true? Is it actually true of this situation? So do all my videos suck? Some of them actually do, but do all of them? No. Could they be better? Absolutely. We can always improve things. And then third, replace it with a more positive and affirming thought. That wasn't perfect, but every video I get better and better. That's a pretty slow and easy transitioning way to go from the negative ant to the positive ant. And then we could say, hey, I love doing videos. I rock at videos. May or may not be true, but we'll work on it. So that's just a quick and dirty example. So what's our action item today? Identify, become aware of one of your ants today. Again, I guarantee you got them. Everybody on the planet has automatic negative thoughts. That's why it's such a powerful concept. Number 2, challenge that ant. It's pretty easy to challenge it by just saying, hey, is that true? Is it always true? Is it true right now? Has it always been true, and will it always be true in the future? And the answer is always no to that, because ants are automatically not true. They're automatically false. And 3, replace it with a more positive and affirming thought, so that when that pops up, you can automatically say the positive thing in your head instead of the negative thing. And that will counteract it. All right. Love this topic. Any questions on it, please ask, because it's such a powerful concept and tool to have in your toolbox, right? All right. That's it. Have an awesome day. And I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow. Bye. I'm going to go stomp some ants.